removing the kakunguta, bakita kakunguta mu Luganda, removing the akajejena mu Lunyankore, akajejena, the filter. Okusengejja. Because those swamp grasses is God's kasengejja. God planted them for us. The swamp, the grass, the papyrus, they just filter. The water going into, that's why at Kiamata, I would just go to the swamp and drink with my hands. I had no problem. It was not treated, but it was filtered by God. But now we are very busy destroying. I don't know whether we are enemies of God or what. We are enemies of ourselves because God is not bad. He's in heaven there. If we destroy here, it is us, not God. God doesn't depend on water, doesn't drink. I don't think he's thirsty. It is us who need all this support. Number 4, part of the cause of flooding is swamp destruction. There was flooding here in Kampala the other day. People were crying, they lost so much. But that flooding is partly caused by this destruction of the swamp. The swamp vegetation acts as a sieve for the water, but also as a brake for the speed of the water. With the swamp grass, swamp vegetation, such as papyrus, there is a grass very common called Cyperus latifolia, the scientific name. We call it ebigugu, Lunyankore. It forms the papyrus. The water is not only received, but it is also slowed down. It can't cause damage. You clear the swamp vegetation, you get water flowing quickly and massively and drying up quickly. Water destroys and then it dries up. Watch the Boise channel. There's this channel which I passed by at Boise. It is sometimes full and then dry. You can see it there at Boise. I normally pass there. Sometimes the water is full, sometimes it's dry. Because it goes quickly. God's plan was not for the water to go quickly. God's water was for the water to go slowly. And the breaks were the swamp, the grass, the vegetation. Goes slowly, 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 slowly. It doesn't. So the flooding is partly caused by destroying the swamps. Number 5, when the vegetation in the wetlands and the forests slows down the speed of the water flow, it allows the water to sink in the soil and replenish, recharge the underground water. Ensuro. Ubu mu Rwanda bazita batya? Ensuro, okay. This is the water that is going underground. In many parts of Ankole, we have those ensuro. You dig down in the valley, you see the water coming from the ground. But it started coming from the mountain or somewhere going through. When the vegetation in the wetlands and the forest slows down the speed of the water flow, it allows the water to sink in the soil and replenish, recharge the underground water, ensure. Destroying the vegetation cover in the wetlands and forest areas makes the runoff water, omutunga, omukoka, alele, flow very fast and will not have time to sink in the soil. The water will just go quickly. It will not have time to sink in the soil. the underground water will eventually dry up. What is all this if not a disaster? How can people work like this as if they don't know what they are doing? Number 6, there are then the natural resources of the wetlands, the papyrus, the ebugugu, Cyperium latifolia, the mudfish, eshonzi, the minava, ropes. We were making natural ropes from some of the plants in the swamp area. The catfish, I think catfish is what they call a mare or something. The bigugu are very good for mulching. This is the one we are using for mulching. We are now talking of agriculture, PDM. Where will you get the materials for mulching? Okwara. Where? The other time I had a project in Bushenyi, in the parish of Ruharo. And then I gave them support, I gave them seedlings, I gave them cows. Then they said, we need a pickup. I said, a pickup for one village. A pickup for what? I said, because we need to kusaka, we need to buy ebugugu for mulching from 30 miles away. Imagine. They have destroyed the nearby swamp where there is the ebugugu are there. They now want to have somebody to have a tender now to supply ebugugu, Cyperium latifolia, from 30 miles away. What sort of country is this? They want a tender, somebody to win a tender for cow dung. That somebody wants it. They said, because I have a lot of cows, they should, the people in Kyotera, they said I should get a tender to supply cow dung. I said, no, I cannot make myself exerani of having a tender to supply cow dung. If you want cow dung, come and take it. But more useful, it's better each one of you has a cow. You have your own cow dung so that you manure your garden. But for the grass, for the ebugugu, Cyperium latifolia, it's nearby. Uganda had made Uganda so well that you get a hill, then in the valley there is a swamp. Everywhere almost. A swamp, a hill, a swamp. That's how Uganda is. It's like that. Now, you destroy the nearby swamp. You deny yourself for ebugugu, for mulching. You deny yourself for water for irrigation. What sort of country is this? How can we accept this? And we are all here, government, minister, member of parliament, I don't know what, as if God doesn't like. If you don't use your talents, God takes them away. This is the story in the Bible. God gives you talents, you don't use them, he says, you worthless servant, go away. That's what he says in the New Testament. How can we misuse our talents? The water for irrigation is here. The bigugu for mulching is here. The eshonzi, those who want to eat eshonzi, mudfish, is here. Just nearby, every hill below, you have water, like that. Then you say, bring water. What is here, near you? God has brought it everywhere. The bigugu are very good for mulching, papyrus for paper making, fish for nutrition, etc. How and why should we lose all this? This is my question. These are some of the existential threats to our future that are involved in the phenomenon of invading the wetlands. Blaming NEMA as to why they allowed people to settle in the wetlands and come later to evict them is of course a good point. However, it does not exonerate the encroachers and their backers. Who does not know what a wetland is? Are you a Ugandan or are you from Europe? It is the duty of everybody to defend Uganda's survival. In any case, in the matter of the environment, we have no choice. Uganda cannot be destroyed, and we simply watch. Hence, please, all the people in the wetlands, live peacefully. You have done enough damage. We are not prosecuting you. It is an amnesty. Simply leave. We cannot compensate you for breaking the law and common sense. I wouldn't even say law. Even if there was no law, common sense would tell you that don't go in the swamp. It will, moreover, if we say we compensate, it will moreover be another way of encouraging that indiscipline to continue. Because if we compensate this, then the others also will come. Then we compensate them. So that's why we cannot compensate. There's no compensate. We have already compensated you by not prosecuting you, so you just go. That's a compensation. The second issue I would like to talk to you about, did you get those swamps before 1986? You got them or you didn't? Huh? Get them. I'm sure the swamp, the pictures of Kankwatsa, the pictures of the veterans before 1986. You have to get them and show them on another program. The second issue I would like to talk to you about is wealth creation. Right from the beginning, the NRM analyzed for you the socio-economic history of this area, the Great Lakes area. On account of no written records, we sometimes rely on the early foreign travelers that came here to see how the area was. If you take H.M. Stanley in 1887, while traveling through the Ituri area of Congo, partly populated by the Rinyoro-speaking people, he was amazed by the abundance and the productivity of the area and the people. On page 298 of his book entitled In the Darkest Africa, Volume 2, by Henry H.M. Stanley, he wrote as follows. I'm quoting. This is what Stanley wrote in 1887 when he was passing through a part of Bunyoro, which was put in Congo by the colonial borders. In quotes, a march of an hour and a half in the afternoon, apparently not far from the river, brought us to the populous district of Babusese. The banana plantations were very extensive, reminding me of Uganda, and their shades covered a multitude of huts. This was on the 5th of December, 1887. Fields of millet and sesame, plots of sweet potatoes occupied the outskirts of these plantations. And there was ample evidence around about that the land was thickly peopled and industrially cultivated. He was writing in the Old English of that time, 1887, that the area was thickly populated and industrially cultivated. This is 1887. Stanley passing through what is now Ituri, but populated by our people there, the Banyoro of that side. Later on, while traveling through the Rizi area of Ankole, on pages 371 to 372 of the same book, he wrote as follows. Crossing a narrow neck of land, descended into the basin of the Rizi. By degrees, the misty atmosphere of this region was clearing, and we could now see about 5 miles distance and the contour of the pastoral plateau of Ankori. Ankori, he wrote it as Ankori. It was not by any means at its best. It was well into the drought season. This is writing in the Old English. Drought season. Into the drought season. The dry season had commenced 2 months previously. Hilly range, steep corn, hammock, and plain were clothed with grass ripe for fire, that the grass was dry. The herds were numerous, the herds of cattle. The herds were numerous and all as fat as prize cattle. The man is writing, now this is now 1889. As fat as prize cattle. In the valley, we had passed over 4,000 cattle of the long-horned species. The basin of the Rizi, which we are now in, and which was heart of the Ankori, possessed scores of the finest herds of cattle I had never seen before. This is Stanley writing in 1889. Earlier, in 1862 and 1874, both Speke and Stanley, respectively, had traveled through and wrote about the Buganda area, bringing out the same point. Our ancestors were very productive in crops, livestock, fishing, blacksmithing, backcloth making, poultry, etc. However, the whole society was still in the pre-capitalist stage of development without a money economy, relying on the less efficient system of okchurka. Okchurka in Runyankore means barter trade. Barter trade. There were some primordial efforts at using money in the form of kauri shells, and simbi. Even now, in some of our dialects, money, esente, is still called ensimbi, which means kauri shells, or sometimes mpiha, rupiah, still capturing those other efforts and at entering the money economy. When the British defeated our divided kings and took over Uganda, they introduced the money economy now based on the shilling. By 1962, when the British left, they had created a small island of money economy surrounded by a sea of underdevelopment, the economy of Okorre Kida Kyonka, working only for the stomach. In the universities, in the 1960s, the description for those colonial and neo-colonial economies was enclave economies, small islands of money economy surrounded by a sea of pre-money traditional economic activities. In the case of Uganda, our small enclave economy was being described as an economy of the 3 C's and the 3 T's. The 3 C's were cotton, coffee, cotton, and copper, while the 3 T's were tea, tobacco, and tourism. The percentage of the homesteads inside this small island by 1969 was only 4% of the homesteads. When Idi Amin came in 1971, much of this small island was destroyed. Only coffee and tobacco kept limping on. Therefore, from our analysis, and given our orientation formed throughout the formative years of the student movement in the 1960s, our strategic long-term goal was to achieve a total socio-economic transformation by building a modern society of the middle class and a skilled working class as had happened in Europe since 300 years ago. So when we came into the government, we knew that Africa, Uganda were 300 years behind Europe. Because in Europe, they had built a middle class. By the time of the French Revolution, you find there was a middle class there, 1789. But here, we're still in the pre-capitalist, pre-money traditional system, the one which was found by Stanley when he came here. Very productive, but productive in the non-money way of working only for the stomach. The bananas are there, the cows are there, but there's no money economy. It is based on okchurka, butter trade. And not that system, not efficient. If you want to, you have cows, but if you want to build a house, how will you buy cement? Are you going to take cows to the cement factory? Where will the cement factory put the cows? They don't have to. So you must find a way of converting the cows into money. And you go with the money to the factory. This is where the problem is. It's not a problem of resources, problem of organization. That's what was lacking. So from the very beginning, the NRM wanted to build a middle class and a skilled working class, as had happened to Europe 300 years ago. In order to achieve this, and given Uganda's natural resources base, we developed a plan for the modern economy based on 4 money-making sectors. Mulize banange, esente zisangibwa mu bubondo buna. The money is to be found in 4 money-making sectors. These are commercial agriculture with ekibaro, chura, otita, aymar. Commercial agriculture with ekibaro. Manufacturing, that means industries, services, and ICT. Our strategic goal is to make every adult Ugandan of working age join one of these sectors, either as an owner or as an employee. Given the collapse of the small island sector, economy, however, that strategic goal could not be achieved at one go. Since, however, we had philosophically, ideologically, and strategically correctly analyzed our situation, in spite of the opposition from some of the civil servants and the politicians, we have successfully attained 4 phases. These are the minimum economic recovery, meaning you bring back the 3 C's and the 3 T's, and also reformalize the economy that had become informal with magendo, etc. Second phase, expand the enclave of the 3 C's and 3 T's, make them bigger. That coffee, 1986 was 2 million bags, it's now 9 million bags. Tea was 3 million kilograms, it's now 60 million kilograms. So restore the 3 C's, but also, and T's, but also expand them. That is phase 2. Diversifying the enclave products by bringing into the money economy new products such as milk, beef, bananas, maize, fruits, Irish potatoes, cassava, etc. Because in those days they used to talk of cash crops and food crops. And during the time of the British and soon after independence, they would say coffee is a cash crop, cotton is a cash crop, milk is a food, it's not a cash. Bananas is a food crop. Beans is a food crop. So, and some of us were saying, but coffee is not a food. Coffee is a beverage. A beverage, somebody to warm the blood. But not food, because you can't live by just eating. I can eat bananas and beans. Without coffee, I will live. I will not have the stimulus in the mouth, but at least I will live. But I cannot live by coffee alone, I will die. So why would you promote a beverage and neglect a food? What sort of logic was this? So we diversified by making cash products into items which were previously called only food items: milk, beef, bananas, maize, fruits, Irish potatoes, cassava. Everything is cash. Even marukwanga soon may be cash. Marukwanga, our product in Acholi. And number 4, start the knowledge economy of using science to create products such as vaccines, automobiles, electronic products, etc. However, all this could not happen if you do not work on some elements of the infrastructure: the roads, electricity, the ICT backbone, etc. This is how now you hear that our economy has expanded from US dollars 1.5 billion 1986 to now US dollars 55 billion, albeit still being a raw materials producing economy. This is why you hear me insisting that this economy will jump to US dollars 500 billion by simply adding value to most of our raw materials: agricultural, mineral, forest products, our freshwater products, etc. In this journey, we have had some Ugandans listening to our message of socio-economic transformation through wealth creation in the 4 sectors of commercial agriculture with HVRO, manufacturing and artisanship, services, hotels, transport, entertainment, etc., and ICT. In this address, I will show you Ugandans who partially listened to our guidance and achieved considerable prosperity. In agriculture, I will show you the following. Number 1, the dairy farmers of the cattle corridor, represented by Mzee Matongo of Ngoma. If you have his pictures, show it.
Amazina ninge George Matongo wa Ngoma mugongo guntu hano gwataka shozi nandi kutaha umurimo gwanje ndi muri isa nteze mujya kureba nuko itandikira tatakanda gente bakubya talobo nkagwacha dana meirisa zakanya nagura amataka nyuse nazo zankorera ibintu kwenda zashubitiza abana bihereze natuzurho kabanza mu nyankore naje nahindura nk'umwata ngo njungu nuko zahanyiranye natunga batuzungwe zo ndisumute.
On our farm, we collect over 900 liters of milk per day, and a liter costs 800 shillings, which is approximately 21 million per month.
Unkeviona bakare tubusingi nukarantyo nkakaha hundi n'ubusinge bwawe n'ubwabo